Caution. The news you are about to view is exciting, informative, and generally factual. Our upcoming narratives tackle real-world events, politics, culture, and social affairs, served with a generous side of satire. Expect sharp wit and exaggerated irony that are ridiculously and undeniably accurate.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. Hi, I'm Dolly. Llama. We have a lot to cover, from major developments on the world stage to stories impacting your local community. Plus, the latest in weather, sports, and business. Stay with us as we bring you the news you need to know. And apparently what you need to know coincides with Easter.
From the day's top headlines to stories you won't want to miss, we've got it all covered. A major political shakeup, a shocking sports upset, and the feel-good moment of the week, right here, right now. Hello, I'm Monica Boulevard, and this is Current News with Dolly and Monica. Let's get started. Would you, our viewers, like to have more clarity in what is the good and bad of tariffs? So would we. We have been researching and gathering some interesting and current perspectives just like everyone else. Here is our opinion. Tariffs wars. Because nothing says diplomacy like a price hike on avocados. Welcome to the modern miracle of international diplomacy, where the battlefield is your grocery bill and the casualties include your wallet, your favorite imported cheese, and probably your patience. Yes, friends, we're talking about the tariffs war, a glorious saga of economic arm wrestling where nobody wins but everyone pretends they're doing just fine. Let's be honest, the tariff war sounds like a Netflix sci-fi series starring overly aggressive economists in trench coats. In reality, it's just countries bickering over trade policies while citizens discover their favorite gadgets, food, and fast fashion items are now luxury goods. You used to buy shrimp cocktail for your dinner party. Now it's an exotic status symbol. On one side, tariffs are touted as heroic, designed to protect national industries, create jobs, and force fair trade. In theory, it's like slapping a tax on your sibling for borrowing your stuff without asking. Totally fair. Until they stop inviting you to Thanksgiving. In practice, tariffs often lead to retaliatory taxes that snowball into an economic version of "he started it." We've had US versus China, US versus Europe, and now even Canada's raising a brow. The result? Global supply chain drama so tangled it makes your headphone wires look like a tidy little bow. Meanwhile, inflation says hello, your online shopping cart gets emptier, and those sweet, innocent avocados now cost the same as a small sedan. And the bad? Well, the war part. No tanks involved, but everyone's GDP gets a little bruised. Companies hoard inventory like it's an economic apocalypse, consumers suffer from whiplash over sudden price jumps, and politicians spin inflation stats faster than a TikTok dance challenge. So, what have we learned? That global economics is a group project where nobody really knows what's going on, but everyone still wants an A+. In the end, tariffs might be the grown-up version of "I'm taking my ball and going home." Except the ball is a shipping container full of iPhones. Pass the overpriced popcorn. We're watching world finance, baby. Here is a little bit more as we consider some of the current events at the moment. In the grand saga of border ballets and visa limbos, immigration continues to be the political piñata of the century. One side wants a wall so big it'll be visible from Mars, with solar panels maybe, while the other prefers an invisible door labeled "Welcome," but with paperwork, patience, and a background check that rivals spy recruitment. Meanwhile, millions just want a shot at a better life, preferably with fewer forms, less waiting, and without needing a lawyer, a translator, and a miracle. Politicians argue about dreamers, while dreaming up new ways to delay any real solutions. Airports are still the ultimate Hunger Games arena for documents, and border policies change faster than fashion trends. All the while, the Statue of Liberty quietly side-eyes everyone, wondering when someone will actually read the poem at her feet again. But no worries. Congress is on it, right after this next recess. I'm going to turn time over to Du for his sports insights before we go. Du?
UFL, the Ultimate Football-ish League, a commentary. Welcome, dear viewers, to yet another adrenaline-pumped Sunday of UFL action. The only league where dreams are made, hopes are crushed, and the referees seem to be operating under a strict guess-and-go policy. Today's matchup features the Portland Possums versus the Tampa Bay Tornadoes, a rivalry as fierce as two wet cats in a bathtub. The Possums, true to their name, have played dead for most of the season, waking up briefly last week to fumble their way into a moral victory against a team that didn't show up. Literally. The Tornadoes, meanwhile, have been spinning out of control since week 2, when their star quarterback threw a 70-yard interception and then proposed to a sideline reporter mid-game. It was beautiful, really. The interception, not the proposal. She said no. On camera. Kickoff begins with the usual drama. A coin toss that takes 5 minutes because both captains keep calling tails. The ref eventually flips a concession nacho in frustration. Possums win the toss and choose to defer, presumably to delay their inevitable collapse until the third quarter. The first half is everything you'd expect from UFL football. 5 penalties, 3 timeouts, 2 players ejected for excessive celebration, and 0 touchdowns. There's also an awkward moment when the Tornadoes mascot accidentally tackles a cheerleader during a halftime TikTok dance. The mascot is fine, the cheerleader is suing, and the dance got 1.7 million views in under an hour. Now into the fourth quarter, and the Possums are finally within scoring range, which in their case means somewhere between midfield and divine intervention. On 3rd and goal, their quarterback throws what appears to be a brilliant pass, until it's caught by a hot dog vendor in the upper deck. Fans go wild. The hot dog vendor is now the MVP. Final score, 6-3, with both field goals coming off the feet of 2 separate kickers signed this morning via Craigslist. In the end, the UFL continues to deliver what it promises. Football-like experiences, budget uniforms, and just enough chaos to keep us wondering, is this brilliance or a masterclass in mediocrity? Either way, we'll be here next week, because let's be honest, we can't look away. Stay tuned, or don't. We probably won't notice. And that wraps up tonight's sports coverage where underdogs rose, favorites collapsed, and referees made decisions so questionable they'll be debated for decades. Tune in tomorrow for more overpaid athletes, armchair coaching, and endless replays of things we just watched. Until then, keep yelling at your TV. It definitely makes a difference. That's it for now. I'm Du Drift, and have a sportingly good night.
In consideration of Easter, we thought that it might be enlightening to share some cultural perspectives. Many international depictions of the Easter Bunny. Hopping across borders. The strange, global misadventures of the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny, humanity's most beloved large rodent after Mickey Mouse and that one guy at the DMV with suspiciously large teeth. But while Americans envision a pastel-colored egg-delivering hare with the work ethic of Santa and the fashion sense of a toddler loose in a craft store, the Easter Bunny's international counterparts tell a wildly different tale. One that proves that, globally, nobody really knows what the hell is going on with this bunny. Germany, where it all started and immediately got weird. Our journey begins in Germany, home of bratwurst, Beethoven, and childhood trauma disguised as fairy tales. The original Osterhase was not your cute, cuddly cartoon character. No, this bunny was a stern, egg-laying rabbit judge who determined whether children were good enough to receive gifts. Nothing says Easter joy like a moral tribunal held by a mutant Legomorph. Fun fact, the Osterhase was said to lay eggs in nests children made in their bonnets. Yes, kids wore their eggs like high-fashion accessories, which means the Easter Bunny was unintentionally the first influencer for spring millinery trends. France. Because who needs a bunny when you have church bells? In France, they were too sophisticated for bunnies. Instead, they believed that church bells, les cloches de Pax, fly to Rome on Good Friday, like some kind of ecclesiastical Uber, and return on Easter Sunday dropping chocolate eggs. Yes, forget the bunny. French children are raised to expect a surreal aerial chocolate bombing courtesy of divine aviation. If you're confused, you're not alone. One can only assume the Easter bunny tried hopping into France once, got judged by a waiter, and fled. Switzerland. The Easter cuckoo? Yes, really. In Switzerland, some regions ditch the bunny and go for the Easter cuckoo. A bird. That brings eggs. Which is actually way more biologically accurate than a mammal doing it. But where's the fun in realism? One has to wonder how Swiss children feel, being told that the same creature known for hourly screeching from grandma's living room clock also moonlights as a chocolate courier. If nothing else, it explains the punctuality. Australia. The Easter bilby, savior of national identity and native fauna. The Australians, being eternally at war with invasive species and existential dread, rejected the Easter bunny outright. Why? Because rabbits are an ecological menace down under, responsible for approximately 87% of all environmental destruction and at least 4% of hangovers, probably. So instead, they have the Easter bilby, a cute, endangered marsupial with oversized ears, a longer nose, and what can only be described as a vaguely judgmental expression. The bilby delivers eggs and awareness, combining holiday cheer with an urgent conservation message. Because nothing says, Happy Easter, like a sugar high and existential guilt. England. The bunny who doesn't try too hard. In the UK, the Easter bunny exists, but mostly in a kind of don't look at him too directly way. He's there, he delivers eggs, but no one asks questions. It's a very British arrangement. Polite nodding, some chocolate, and then back to pretending emotions don't exist. Rumor has it the UK Easter bunny wears tweed and carries a pocket watch, but that might just be Paddington Bear on a sugar bender. America. Full commercialized Lego morph madness. Finally, in the land of the free and the home of the mall food court, the Easter bunny reigns as a slightly off-brand Santa Claus with a seasonal color palette. Here, he appears in shopping malls, looking anywhere from vaguely unsettling to absolutely cursed, posing with children who are either screaming in terror or dead-eyed from too many peeps. American depictions of the bunny suggest he breaks into homes, hides eggs, and leaves chocolate behind, a crime that would land any other species on a watch list, but here it's just part of spring traditions. Why eggs? Why chocolate? Why is he 6 feet tall? Why not? Capitalism. Conclusion. One bunny, many interpretations, infinite confusion. So there you have it, a bunny that lays eggs, a cuckoo who delivers candy, airborne church bells, and a marsupial PR campaign. The Easter bunny, depending on where you are, might be a symbol of spring, a mascot of guilt, or just a mildly creepy dude in a suit hiding behind your couch. In a world divided by borders, languages, and chocolate preferences, the global Easter bunny reminds us of one universal truth. Nobody has any idea what's going on, but as long as there's chocolate, we're all cool with it. Here is a little information in time for Easter, shared by our Dolly. Let's now turn our time over for some expert commentary. And I must say, you look ravishing tonight, Dolly.
Once again, come to that time of the year when the masses are in deliberation regarding what type of confectionery should be consumed, and then there is the lingering question. If we choose the wrong sweets, will our world be destroyed? Thank you for being with me. Let's talk about that for a bit by presenting a story of the ages. It is called Peeps versus the Peepless, a candy conflict. Once upon a slightly stale morning in the land, and perhaps any land, peace was melting. The sun rose over the gumdrop hills, shining its warm caramel rays on a pastel-colored battlefield. On one side stood the noble order of the Peeps, squishy, sugary warriors in shades of yellow, pink, and that one weird green nobody asked for. On the other side loomed the shadowy forces of the bitter coalition. For all we know, this is how it was and perhaps always will be throughout the world. Disagreements have often been expressed over the Peeps candy. It was never created to foster hate and vengeful practices, yet here we are. A consequence of good and evil, passion and indifference, lust and antipathy being woven in the framework of who we are. In this, the year 2025, when humanity teeters on the edge of AI overlords, economic meltdowns, and avocado toast shortages, one battleground remains curiously sticky: the Great Peeps debate. Yes, we're talking about those pastel-colored marshmallow chicks and bunnies that have been nesting in Easter baskets since time immemorial, or at least 1953. On one side of this gooey war are the people, a brave, sugar-loving coalition who believe Peeps are more than just glucose grenades. To them, Peeps are a heritage, a seasonal rite, a springtime sugar deity. They host annual Peeps dioramas, give TED Talks titled The Metaphysical Marshmallow, Peeps as postmodern icons, and whisper sweet nothings to their stale yet beloved Peeps horde from 2017. Opposing them, in equal numbers but double the scorn, are the Anti-Peeps Coalition, a haughty band of food critics, organic snackers, and disgruntled dentists who believe Peeps are an abomination. They clutch kale chips like rosaries, and speak of Peeps as one might speak of a war crime. It's not candy, they scoff. It's insulation foam dipped in glitter. At the heart of this saccharine schism lies a question that has divided families, ruined friendships, and possibly delayed 3 UN meetings. Are Peeps a national treasure, or a neon-colored culinary threat? Tensions reached a boiling point this Easter when a group of people stormed a Whole Foods, demanding equal shelf space next to the hemp seed bars. They brought signs reading, "Don't defeather our joy," and "My marshmallow, my choice." Meanwhile, a rival protest held outside a Target demanded ethical alternatives like gluten-free, hand-whipped marshmallow doves raised on sustainable clouds. Social media, naturally, fanned the flames. Hashtag Peep Rights trended alongside hashtag Peeps Are Over Party. Threads on X, formerly known as Twitter, formerly known as Tolerable, featured heated exchanges like, "You eat Peeps? Do you also eat lava? And Peeps are proof God loves us and wants us to rot our teeth in peace." In these trying times, it seems even the simplest joys, like eating a sugar-coated blob shaped like poultry, are no longer safe. But the people remain undeterred. For every mocking meme, they rise again, proudly chomping into a bunny with the resilience of a species that once put marshmallows in Jell-O. In the end, perhaps Peeps aren't just candy. Perhaps they're a lifestyle, a fluorescent, fluffy, slightly suspicious lifestyle worth defending. Thus ended the Great Peep War, a tale of good, evil, and unnatural shelf life. And somewhere in the shadows, a jellybean plotted its revenge.
Now, here is an issue that we have observed from time to time regarding an ardent movement pushing for secession from or within the state it is in currently. Prediction: the future of state secession in the U.S., a 20-year outlook. As whispers of state secession evolve from fringe conversations into headline debates, public opinion is growing more curious and polarized about what the next 20 years might hold. Whether it's Texas dreaming of going solo or California musing about splitting into smaller political playgrounds, the idea of reimagining U.S. geography isn't fading anytime soon. By 2045, several states may not fully secede from the Union. Let's face it, federal funding is cozy, but the likelihood of internal restructuring, regional autonomy, or multi-state alliances is gaining traction. Texas, forever flirtatious with independence, may not wave the Lone Star alone, but could leverage its influence to gain more legislative freedom from federal mandates. California could divide, not from the Union, but within itself, creating Northern, Central, and Southern Californias with unique governance models tailored to vastly different cultural and economic realities. Public opinion, especially among younger generations, suggests a growing frustration with centralized control and a desire for more localized power. Add to this the rise of digital governance, climate-driven migration, and economic inequality, and the case for state autonomy feels less like rebellion and more like reinvention. Of course, secession itself remains highly unlikely. Constitutional hurdles, military implications, and interstate dependencies are daunting. But symbolic sovereignty, increased state rights, and radical reforms? Much more plausible. So, while the American flag may still fly in full star-spangled form, don't be surprised if, by 2045, some states act less like puzzle pieces and more like bold brands, each flexing their identity, independence, and innovative visions of what it means to belong, sort of. This is Lucia. Thank you for being with me on this subject this evening.
We are grateful for your insights, Lucia. Now, let us lay some chocolate with Chloe. I hear she has some interesting views to share. And, of course, we just love her outfit. It reminds me of spring and, obviously, movies.
This might be a random person to review, but have any of you put a thought to some of our unique stars who have graced the big screen of years ago? Well, I have. I believe that you will enjoy the memory of Marty Feldman like I have. Passing away December 2nd, 1982. He left a hole in the fun and funny of Hollywood, or Hollyweird as some might remember it. Marty Feldman, the man, the myth, the eye-popping legend. Marty Feldman didn't just steal scenes, he eyeballed them straight into submission. With a gaze that could simultaneously look into your soul and check for incoming traffic, Marty wasn't just a comedian, he was a living, blinking anomaly of brilliance. Born with a face that defied symmetry and a wit that mocked convention, Feldman became the poster child for making weird not only okay, but wildly successful. Before there were memes, there was Marty, a man whose expression said more than most novels. His career sparkled brightest as Igor, that's Igor, in Young Frankenstein, where he turned hunchbacked assistant duties into comedic gold. With every line, glance, and exaggerated twitch, Feldman reminded audiences that humor wasn't just punchlines, it was the glorious art of looking completely unbothered while chaos raged behind you. Off-screen, Marty was fiercely intelligent, politically charged, and refreshingly odd. He wrote, directed, and generally disrupted the status quo wherever he went. Sadly, his life blinked out too soon in 1982, reportedly due to shellfish revenge, a heart attack, but you know, seafood drama adds flair. In a world addicted to filters and Botox, Marty Feldman remains a patron saint of the beautifully bizarre. He proved that being unforgettable had nothing to do with perfection and everything to do with owning your own brand of madness. I hope that you have enjoyed that. This is Chloe Clam Chowder. And good night!
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We are glad you are with us. Stay updated on our latest content. Thanks for your support.